giving it back to Lynden Dunn. Can he go all the way? The goal unguarded. It's a good kick. A very good kick. The Demons both 3 goals.
Lynden Dunn, defender, goal kicker.
He's a veteran of the game and underrated at that. Please welcome Lynden Dunn to Marngrook, folks. And Layla's back with us too. And Lynden, welcome to the Marngrook Footy Show. Great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
And Collingwood, the last few weeks you've been close. You've had teams on the ropes, but you just couldn't sort of hit them with that knockout blow at the end. But how's the playing group holding up at the moment, seeing you've been so close but so far away? And just what's the mood like down there? And how's Bucks been with the playing group as well?
Yeah, look, the vibe has been the same as it has been all year. It's been really upbeat and not much changes, you know, in the 4 walls, whether we win or lose week to week, which is a nice thing to have. We've been around the mark for a lot of the season, but we've definitely got a few big games coming up this week, and it starts with the Bombers.
Hey, Lynden, thanks for coming on the show, brother. And I know this is your first time because I was sure we had you on before, but anyway. No, look, I love the way you played at Melbourne and, you know, the stuff that you did there, and you was part of the leadership group there. And I just used to love the way you went about it, because you're a very hard player, and I know you expect a lot of yourself, the way you play. One thing I used to love was when you did the spirals. Now, not many players can do the spiral, and when I say the spiral, I mean the torpedo punt. And when I see it in a modern-day footballer, it's just so refreshing. And I don't know if Bucks encourages you, but when you kick the ball out, you should do it more often.
Yeah, well, when you pick the footies out of the bags behind the goals, doesn't matter which cheer squad it is at either end, they're always sort of calling for a barrel, and there's always a little bit of abuse coming from the opposition cheer squad as well. But if you can get onto one, it's nice, and it's a skill that's sort of been lost in the game, I think. So,
did you work on it, or was that
well,
natural?
I like to kick them at training, and I've always kicked them as a kid growing up, and I've always had a fairly decent kick on me, so might as well make the most of it.
Yeah. Lynden, you played at Melbourne for quite a while, and then there's always a transition going from one club to the other, but you also had a son, Emmett, who was also a part of that transition. What were some of the things that Collingwood did to try and get him on the bandwagon over to Collingwood? Yeah, so I remember maybe the first time I went into the club, I took Emmett along with me, and they were cleaning the 2010 Premiership Trophy. And we drove to school after that, and he sung the Collingwood theme song about 50 times in the car. So it was across the theme song, and he got a new footy jumper as well, which he's pretty happy about. Yeah. He still asks about the Ds and the boys at the club and how they're going, and because the clubs are right next to each other, he sees it all the time. But he's been great, and the footy club's been great with him. That's lovely.
Danny, we were talking backstage about the women's comp, and you mentioned how you were helping out with the Collingwood's team last year. So you're going to help out again this year, and are you going to look forward to coaching post footy? Yeah, well, I think the AFLW is really exciting, and you know, my family's involved in women's football. I've got a sister that plays, and I'm passionate about the game. We saw last year what the women can do and how exciting it is. And I think at Collingwood we're grateful that we have a licence, and I know there's other clubs that are looking to get a licence. So hopefully, haven't finalised anything yet, but hopefully my role will step up, you know, within the women's side, and I can help out with some expertise and some coaching, and get the girls going, you know, during the pre-season. Nice.
Lynden, I watched your game last week against the Hawks, and I thought that young De Goey played a ripper game, and it made me think, gee, he's got a bright future. So tell us a bit about him. Yeah, look, Jord had a breakout game last week in the midfield, and you know, he's a high draft pick. He's got a lot of talent. Had a few hiccups earlier in the season with breaking his hand, and we've worked through that. But look, Geordie is a super talent, and once he gets his work rate right week to week and learns how to build his engine and do those little things that count Monday to Friday, he's going to be a super player for our footy club.
It was interesting before we had Michael Hibbert on, who's taken over your old jumper, number 14 at Melbourne, so you've got something in common there with him. But when you're at Melbourne, you used to kick some great goals, and you know, you love, as Gilly said, you love unleashing the torpedo punt, and since you've gone across to the Pies, you've basically been playing a lot more down in defence. If it was up to you, and I know the usual standard reply would be, I'll play where the coach wants me to play, but if you could select yourself in the Collingwood team on the weekend, would you be playing up forward, or would you play up back?
Yeah, look, it's funny, I was drafted as a forward and always played my junior footy in the forward line, but I would definitely, I wish I had gone back earlier in my career. You know, my versatility in my game is a strength, but at the same time, it hurt me at times at Melbourne, and I was left out of the side, not owning a position on the ground. And I love playing in defence, and yeah, that's where I'll spend the rest of my days.
Now, last week we spoke about staging, and you've been the victim of it too. Do you remember getting reported of striking Brent Harvey a couple of years back, and what did you say to him after the game?
Yeah, I do remember this. I was spending some time in the midfield on this day tagging Boomer, and he was one of the craftiest getting around, and I was trying to use my strengths and get into him a little bit, and I got reported twice in 30 seconds actually on that day, and got off both. I got off both the charges. So yeah, look, it is what it is. It's a fierce, tough game, and sometimes these things happen. But yeah, I was pretty disappointed with that.
Wolsey, he'd get rubbed out this week, wouldn't he, Brent Harvey, for staging?
He would, yeah.
He'd get a couple of weeks for that. And you got reported by not one, but two umpires, so they were in good form on that game, weren't they?
It was Scotty McLaren both times, I think.
Can I ask you about your forward line? Because Collingwood's forward line, when I say that, because I just feel that's the area. I know they talk about the mids and the backs a lot. It must be very hard. Coxie, you know, I know they dropped Reedy and they put Coxie in, and Coxie's probably got 5 kicks or something. He's kicked 3 goals, and I know it's great to have him up there. Just seems to me that you're a key position short, and you got Fasala and you got Jamie Ellett and you got your little Hoskin Elliots. Just seems to me that you're lacking another key forward. Grant talked about yourself. Could you be an option at centre forward, or what do you feel? Do you need that? Darcy Moore might be back. I don't know.
Yeah, well, look, our forward line's been spoken about all year, and we probably are missing, you know, a key forward up there, and it's something we're going to have to look at in the trade period and drafting. You know, which we did last year. We took 5 key position players, but they're going to take time to develop. And we had Jamie come back last week, like you said, but you know, 2 or 3 tall forwards definitely straighten you up a lot more.